How you doing, everybody? God, it's here. I'm starting to look like Haystack Magoon. Hey, Geezer, and hey, Stefan. How you doing, Abdul? Hey, BH 142 414. I just Caillou 414. Hey, you got your snob on today, guys. Let's see what's going on. Hey, Kevin, Chris. Hey, John, Geezer. Uh, hey, Clyde, how are you? Sean, uh, Feichel, man, I hope I got it right. Um, hey, ZL and Tim, Johnny B, good. Oh boy, uh, I had a, I was up late last night doing something important, watching Netflix, probably. Oh, well, today I thought would be a good day. Hey, GMT Master and Tomas and Krasmir. Hey, good to see you. What I thought would be a good idea today, hi Lee, would be to talk about negotiations for a watch. And let me start off with sort of the way I look at watch negotiations. And the first thing is that the last best deal is yet to be made. So it's a kind of thing that sometimes you'll pass upon a deal that's pretty good, and or someone will pull it from underneath you. That's okay. That's going to happen. If you're doing any negotiations at all, two things: one, don't expect to win every one. Second of all, you got to learn to walk away. One thing I was up. Hey, GMT Master, look like I got a new icon there. So that was a couple sort of underlying beliefs I have. One of the first things, though, before I go into it, is the same thing you need to do before you go into an auction, is that you got a walk away price, and a walk away price is saying, man, if it gets above this point, I'm walking, and it's extremely important to do that. The seller should have the same thing. I mean, both the buyer and the seller wants to get as much as possible. The buyer wants to pay as much as possible. We're not dealing with robots. I believe, well, some people think they're robots, but for the most part, no. So those are sort of what I take as an underlying thing. One other thing too, well, two other things. One is patience. If you're impatient, you're probably not going to do too well. Second of all, is that if you don't do your research on a watch, you're not going to do as well. So those are two things two more things. So let's hear from you what you consider to be good negotiation policy. Sometimes a good negotiation or getting a good price involves other kinds of things that you may have to wait for. And some of it involves dumb luck. This one, forgot what the guy wanted, but I offered half, and he jumped on it. Boom, and that was that. I mean, that was not a hard negotiation. It was no negotiation, because I think the guy had been sitting on it for a long time. Then I have to go shooting off my big mouth about how much I like 736s. They've been creeping up. So, okay. Okay, Tom, you got to haggle, huh? Okay. Hey, and that's something. Orange hand, know when to walk away, know when to run. Yeah. Yeah, you find out something that's creepy about a watch, you got to be careful about that. There is always the FOMO is in play when buying a watch. I negotiate always as if I don't want to get the watch at all. That's that involves, I think that's a combination of things, including patience. So what else do you guys have? You got some good ideas here. Hey, Kashmir. Uh, hey, Krasmir in Bulgaria. Okay, I'm terrible at negotiation. I let my emotions take over and sometimes pay too much. I don't know when to walk away. Yeah, I guess, if there's certain watches that, that come up or opportunities that come up. I think I told you guys about the thing in, God, in Oman, some deal, some bank in Oman, and the guy calls me and says, "Hey, they're having a half price sale and on to the bank employees," and I tried to get in on that and was sort of able to, but that's another kind of way that is what I'll call situational negotiation. And just yesterday, Shopworn was having a 20% off of everything and already discounted. And I found one watch there that I recommended on High Horology Lounge. But I mean, that's what I call situational negotiation. Now, usually, if that thing can happen on a 20% off sale, it probably can happen most times through negotiation. I Haggling and negotiations are probably different words for the same thing, but haggling implies sort of like, I don't know, something a little different style of negotiations. And so, what some people are used to it, some people are offended by it. If you're selling a watch, you better not be offended by, I wouldn't think. You have to realize them for what they are. One of the things that this one guy was trying, he tried to shame me, like, oh, what are you, what do you think, you're getting something for nothing and yada yada yada. Fortunately, I had done my homework and knew that it was what I was offering was a decent price, and what he wanted was excessive. So that didn't work. A lot of funny kinds of things. On some people that'll work. Oh, gee, I'm sorry, I didn't offer you enough. Or like Clyde said, when you get emotional about something, it's sort of like a dog playing poker. If he starts wagging his tail, he has a good hand. You're not gonna, everyone else is gonna fold. Watch Habit, what's up? Hey, Pedro, um, GMT Master. The best way to negotiate is always to keep in mind that there's always the next deal around the corner. Exactly. Yeah, that's an important thing to remember. There, you will lose some really good deals, though. I got to tell you. Just the other day, I think I probably passed on something. So you don't know who else is also after it. Sometimes it's nobody. Other times it's somebody as just as devious as you are who wants to buy it, and the seller is more devious than both of you. Hey Tim, what's up? I have my three watch that are a VC56 calendar. That's a nice one. Rolex Penda. I don't know what a Penda is. Patek 5396. To buy any watches, I take 30% off market and go up to 80% as my drop dead price. That's not a bad formula, Tim. I sort of like that. Um, like sometimes so when I get 50% off a watch I love is might as well try. I mean, you can always say, "Are you kidding me?" And say, yeah, I was kidding." But you're in a better position. Never do this. If you this one guy I know made an offer, and the guy said, "Okay," and he said, "Well, I want it lower now." You don't do that. If I was selling a watch and somebody said, "Hey, here's an offer," say, "Look, an offer's an offer." Just like a sale deal is a sale deal. Someone says, "Okay, we got a deal." It should be a deal. Last year, that happened to me. A guy backed out after it took me 6 months to save up for it, and then by the time I saved up, he backed out of the deal. I hope he eats the watch. I mean, it's really funny what people will do, and you know, it worked out well for me because I found a watch I'd rather have and got a great price too. Um, Best way to haggle is to insist on starting with half the price and work your way up to your maximum number. Okay, that's a way. Sometimes, some people, it depends on who they are. Sometimes a seller who isn't too bright will, get really crazy angry at something like that. If they do, they're not the person to deal with. Other people will look at it for what it is. I see. That must be Abdul. Abdul always offers half. I'll give him a 5% reduction to start, and then you both go up and you come to some kind of agreement. Those are the kind I like. Everyone's going back and forth. It's even better if you enjoy it, I think. I've had two opening offers accepted right away. Yeah, leaves you question whether you paid a little too much. That's another thing. Don't worry. I mean, I know guys, the day they buy one will go back out and see if there's a better deal somewhere. There is. I'll guarantee there's going to be, no matter what. I don't care if the guy gave it to you. You're going to find a better deal where somebody paid him to take it. So, don't torture yourself. If you get a deal you're happy with, the seller's happy with, you can have build up sort of a dealer client relationship, and that can be good for both of you. Oh, hi Lee, how you doing? I've had, let's see. I always ask for a discount regardless of what I'm buying. My wife hates it. Yeah, I know. It's like, I tell you what, the waiter brings you the dinner bill and say, I don't know, maybe I think that's too much. Your wife. Hey, Tomas, they might work maybe with individual sales. Are you in negotiation even with ADs? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've done that. In fact, I got one of the best deals ever from an AD when I got my Harry Winston. He had the most mint Harry Winston in stock of the one I wanted. And I had just gone through a negotiation with this idiot, and it's another story. And I wanted that watch because I'd been looking at it for so long, but I wanted this other one was even better. And this guy was an AD, so I asked him. So I knew what the other price was, and I said, "Look, how close can you come to this?" And man, he came very close, and it was great. So I got a great buy that way. So ADs, anyone, especially with a used watch or one that was used on a trade-in, because they're making a lot on those things, and so they have room to negotiate on a pre-owned watch. They don't have as much on certain ones. The one I got, he was an AD for Harry Winston, but he also had a pre-owned one. It sat in some case for years, or a couple of years, or however long it was, and it was in perfect shape. And he wanted to get rid of it, and wanted to sell the newer ones. So it's a funny kind of thing. Harry Winstons are not the thing that you see people lined up around the block to buy, too. That's another thing, is that if you know a watch is not a popular one, what I call a herd watch, if it's not a herd watch, you can, you're in a lot better position to negotiate. And, I some people take it personally, or they appear to take it personally. Why you offered me only that much? What do you think I am? And, like that, they get all worked up about it, or they appear to be all worked up to make you feel bad about a lower offer. Don't buy it. You can also play the same violin. Like, oh gee whiz, this offer means my kid doesn't go to college. He, this is my beer money. This is serious stuff. So it's like a dance. And you have to think of it this way. Suppose you're selling your own watch. How are you going to negotiate with a person who is doing some negotiation? Now, what we all want, if we're selling something, we want someone to come with what you're asking and say, here's the money with a big bow tied around it. That's what every seller wants. And every buyer wants the best possible deal in the world with a bow around it. So he ends up with a really cool watch. So anyway, Eddie, Chrono 24 isn't any different than any place else. Let me say you something that Chrono 24 does. This is good. I'm glad you brought up Chrono 24. You put an offer in to Chrono 24, a low offer, you lowball, and Chrono 24 will say, that's too low. Are you sure you want to go that low? That's X% below the price. And you say, yeah, go ahead and do it anyway. You'll get it oftentimes. I have. On my last negotiation through Chrono 24, I think I dropped it near $1,000, and the robot on Chrono 24, that's too low. And as soon as I offered it, they took it. So, you have to. There's oftentimes something going on in the background you know nothing about. The dealer's in trouble, or the dealer has got more stock than he expected, or the dealer is one thing or the other. Sometimes the dealer is like selling a certain model you want like hotcakes, and so you put in an offer, they won't even listen to it because they don't have to. So that's another kind of thing. So as a starting point, I don't know, you can figure that out. I think the best way to look at a starting point is really do your research and find out what the other ones are doing. Abdul said, well, you offer half, so here, you want it or not. And depending on the watch, sometimes I've gotten it before. I've offered half on one of my favorite watches, on this one, and they took it right away. Same thing on a Zenith I bought. I bought this wonderful Zenith, and I knew that they had been trying to sell it for a long time because of the bracelet. The bracelet, the guy who had owned it before had taken a link or two out of the bracelet, and so it was like, I think you needed a 6 1/4 size wrist or smaller for this bracelet. Well, no one wanted to buy it for that, and I'm thinking, hey, I can put a strap on there, so I'm going to lowball it. Offered him half, took it like that, and boom. So that was something. It's worth spending some time finding out everything you can about a watch. Or if you look at a watch for sale on someplace like Chrono 24, and then you go over to Shopworn and you find it for significantly less, even though it maybe not the color or whatever else you want with it. That'll give you an idea of the kind of discounts you can possibly get. Some people, though, like I say, is they're this one guy I had to wear that took me a year to wear him down, and I got it for what I wanted. But it's just sort of a thing. You got to understand both sides. Now, if I'm a dealer, I'd rather be anything other than a watch dealer. To me, that's very difficult to do because they've got to buy all of this stock. They got millions of dollars worth of watches sitting there, and they got to sell them, but they can't let them go too cheaply. Otherwise, they'll go out of business. But on the other hand, they do have to sell them. So you've got this very tough thing with that. And being a successful, secondary market, some people say, oh, this is a great deal. All you got to do, I know I can buy them really cheap and sell them to watch collectors. Not always that easy. It really isn't. To me, it'd be a rough road to hoe. Somebody had asked me about going into the business end of watches, and I told him I wouldn't do it. It's just one of those things. See, Abdul R, just put my name down for Nomos Amsterdam special edition of 45 watches at Ace. Eddie, that is a cool watch. I really like that Amsterdam edition. That is a very nice one. See, that's, those things are almost impossible to negotiate on. You have there's a certain, I mean, that's like saying, okay, we got, I don't know what a popular Rolex is, name one. It's a popular Rolex, and you got all these people who want it, and you're not going to negotiate on something like that. I think the same thing is true with your, uh, same thing with a Nomos Amsterdam. Those are just really cool watches, and they're playing the Rolex game. They have limited editions of something that people really want, and they get full price for it. Um, what stops sellers from posting on Chrono 24 and then offering to sell them to a prospective buyer for less directly? Nothing. The big thing about Chrono 24, one of the problems I have with it isn't Chrono 24's fault, it's my bank's fault. And I got to get together with my bank, but ever since this, we've been the lockdown and everything else, I don't want to go near them until everything is sort of a little more settled down, and I get my new mask. Oh, my T-shirt with a cupcake and crossbones. I found a face mask for that, so I'm going to have a face mask with cupcake and crossbones. Yeah, man, you talk about my lucky day. The other thing that was good about it, they 20% of what they charge for the mask goes to a food bank for helping people who are having trouble right now. It's a lot of people. I think 8%. Okay, let's see. I got a Nomos from Ace. Talk to Tamara, 36100. Hear that, guys? Talk to Tamara. She sounds like the person that anyone would like to talk to. Good to hear good things about Ace. That is nice. Yeah, NS something, that's interesting. Uh, Take a note of what NS something is saying to Orange Hand. I hate sites issues. Last time, never got the watch. I hope better luck this time. Eddie, let me tell you what to do on sites, okay? Listen carefully. Have them take the band off, send you the watch and the buckle, period. Have them send the bands separately. If it gets snarled up in sites, then you still got the watch, and getting another band isn't rocket science, all right? Usually what'll happen if you get I got this brochure in the mail, opened up the brochure, and there were my bands. There are all kinds of things on that. What you're seeing now, you're seeing a more and more bands that are leather of some sort that are not exotic animals. I think, like, for example, I know Moser's using a lot of kudu things. If you want a good gator band, and you're in the U.S. or Australia, Australia's got crocodiles and alligators galore. In fact, the whole place, they got whole cities that are nothing but alligators. So they ought to have some there too. Hey, it's easy enough to Google the dealer name, try to see if they're owned. Yeah, Kevin made a point, KK Chrome. That is, you can't take advantage of their escrow service. That's what I like, and that's what my stupid bank's credit card. They were the ones that charged me $300 because if it goes into the escrow at Chrono 24, it's a transfer to another country, namely Germany. And so when they see a credit charge to Chrono 24, then they say, aha, this is some kind of big foreign transaction. This is my business account. I have to see it. I got to talk to my bank. Otherwise, I'll just get another credit card and ask them, say, look, guys, if I do a foreign transaction, I don't want one of these mystery charges come up, because that takes away from whatever you bought the watch for. Stupid bank. Um, Tell the seller and get with the times and download site's paperwork. And that's something site's paperwork. I got to tell you, that is one of the I don't agree with that, and I'll tell you why. I'm really mad at sites. First of all, I am very much in agreement with the goals of sites, and their goal is to, somebody goes out, they're killing elephants for the ivory, and they're killing these rare gators and so forth. But look at the bureaucratic mess they've made of it. They have made it much easier to smuggle in a gator ban than it is to go through their process. All they would have to do is you can get these you get something like a Christmas card or something, and you open it up and you get a singing birthday greeting or something like that. There is no reason they could not put a chip inside the band, none whatsoever. They could scan it and boom, right through. Right now, what they do, they think they're going to solve it with paperwork. I don't think so. I talked to Mike Margolis about it, who has all of the site stuff, and the kinds of stuff they put him through is really just, I think, very shoddy organization that sites has for that. I've seen the people in charge of it. Sure, they got great ideals, but let me tell you something. Unless they make it more efficient in terms of both stopping illegal smuggling as well as letting the people who do it legally do it, they are doing a terrible job. And so don't tell me about the site's paperwork. I've seen that stupid site's paperwork, and it doesn't work. Period. I can tell you that. Have found the courage of, oh, come on, that's it. I agree with sites. That's the whole point. But don't tell me about having the courage of it. They don't have the courage to spend 5 minutes to learn to get a simple chip. You got me going there. That's something. No, it's not done well. I agree with it, but it is. You talk about, why don't they have the courage to do something that's not done in the best 1980s style, 1970s style with bell bottoms? Can you wear a gator band watch and pass through airport security when you enter California? That's a good thing. That's a good question. Yeah, California doesn't want any of them, which I think is sort of like, I don't know. It's sort of like swatting a fly with an elephant gun, if you ask me. You're driving. I don't know. I don't think you go through customs if you go into California. You come from every other state in the country. You got a gator ban. I don't think they're going to have somebody there checking gator bans. What a job. Okay, sorry about going off on that, but I really, I'm just very upset with that, because I do think if I disagreed with what they're doing, and I don't, sites is a great idea and thing. It just bugs me that when it's easier to do something illegally than legally, then I think you have a problem, and that is one of the problems. Sort of like buying weed, they made it legal, boom, that just blew the socks off of an illegal enterprise. The same thing with gambling. Once they started the lottery, it really hurt organized crime, who had been running a numbers game for years, making billions. And that was because some of the people doing the monitoring were lawyers and not accountants. And the same thing is true with a lot of different kinds of things. The Securities and Exchange Commission, they had a bunch of lawyers there, and I'm all for lawyers. This is not anti-lawyer, but sometimes you need somebody who's an accountant who can go through and figure these things out. With the Bernie Madoff, there's this guy, whiz bang mathematician, figured it out 10 years before the SCC wouldn't even listen to the guy, and he was goofy. He was a real goofy guy, but he knew his math and he knew accounting, and the guys in the SCC didn't. Crazy kind of stuff. Okay, how do we get off on this? Nightmare with old guitars, also, especially if made from Brazilian rosewood. If the guitar happened to have an ivory nut, game over. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's there's supposed to be certain things like that, but every time I see one of these stories about these elephants who have been killed and their tusks are cut off, that's then so I understand sites, and like I said, I really agree with what they're trying to do. I just think that you can't be lazy about it and start drowning people in paperwork. Um, what you need to do is use the tools that are available. I'm taking over sites, doing it right. It's a strange. I bought an exotic leather strap from ABP pair of snowshoes, and all. Same here, Eddie. That's what's so funny. If you got it from ABP Paris, is very expensive and but very very good, excellent. And you can get you can get made out of dodo bird, but and they don't check anything. I got several delivered all at the same time, and nothing. I mean, it was like, um, oh, anyway, they use regular mail. Yeah, that's sort of that's the way to do it. Yeah, ABP Paris is really great. If you're in the United States, there's a place in New York that does the same thing. They're expensive, like ABP. Let me see if I got the card with them. It's around here somewhere. But yeah, you can do that too. Well, listen, guys, I'm over my limit, and so I got to run. But thank you all for your ideas and patience with me. I sort of got off on that one thing. That's sort of a pet peeve of mine, not because I disagree with the goals, but I disagree with the methods, and that's with sites. So anyway, everybody take care, and if you're around this afternoon, we'll do something fun. If I'm not in trouble again for something else. Take care.